Good evening, people of America. It is Monday, June 2nd. This is your live weekly dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker. Thank you for joining me. This is where we talk about all things real estate, the housing market, and oh my word, 500,000 more sellers than buyers. Is it happening? Are we flipping over to a buyer's market? No time. It's not time to panic. This could be a good thing, especially for our home buyers. I think this is a good sign. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about some other things too. We got lots to unpack tonight. And before I get into it, of course, I have to bring on my guest. You've seen him before. He's a fabulous real estate agent hailing from California, just outside LA. And let's bring him back in. Mr. Joe Pareca, how are
Jackie.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So good to see you. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, it truly is my pleasure. This is like one of my favorite things to do. And you always have such a great stream, and your audience and your chat is always so wonderful. It is really my pleasure.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. So before we get into it, just a little housekeeping. I want to tell the viewers. So there's a poll. Do me a favor. If you're buying a house, answer that poll question I have there. It says, what's holding you back from buying a house this year in 2025? Is it interest rates, house prices, or the economic uncertainty? Also, please share your housing wins. If you got an offer accepted, if you're under contract, you closed on a house, tell us about it. We want to know, we want to celebrate it, because you know what? It's challenging in this market. And if you're doing it, you're buying a house, and it also gives other people hope that, hey, it's happening. We are able to get a home. Put it in the chat. I want to know. Hello, Amy. Welcome. I'm so glad you're catching your first live. Thanks for being here. Mrs. H, how are you? Thanks for being here. All right. So, guys. Oh, Jivon's back from South Korea.
Thanks for Korea. Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Getting up early and watching. This is great. Wow. So, okay, Joe.
Yes.
Redfin, it's all over the news. Now there's 500,000 more sellers than buyers. So let's unpack this one, because I saw this over the weekend. I'm like, I know what I'm talking about on Monday. This is, oh my gosh, this is what we've been waiting for. Am I right? Come on. Okay. So it says here that housing market has nearly 500,000 more sellers than buyers, the most on record. That will likely cause home prices to fall. There are 34% more sellers in the market than buyers. At no other point in records dating back to in 2013 have sellers outnumbered buyers this much. In other words, it's a buyer's market. Redfin expects home prices to drop 1% by the end of the year as a result. Prospective buyers may see their purchasing power increase, and prospective sellers should consider selling sooner rather than later. 31 of the top 50 metros are buyers' markets. The strongest buyer's market is Miami, where sellers outnumber buyers 3-1. The strongest sellers market is Newark, New Jersey. Can you believe that one? And the most balanced market is St. Louis. The condo market heavily favors buyers. There are 83% more condo sellers than buyers. By comparison, there are 28% more sellers than buyers in the single-family home market. Isn't this crazy? Okay, there are an estimated 1.9 million home sellers in the U.S. housing market, and an estimated 1.5 million home buyers. In other words, there are 33.7 more sellers than buyers, 490,041 more to be exact. At no other point in records have sellers outnumbered buyers. Okay, we already read something like that. Okay, a year ago, sellers outnumbered buyers by just 6.5%. And 2 years ago, buyers outnumbered sellers. So this is insane. Insane. Okay, so here's the reasons. They're saying sellers are outnumbering buyers for several reasons. Number one, it's expensive to buy a home. High home prices, mortgage rates are scaring buyers off. The median home sale price rose 1.6% year over year to $431,931. That's the slowest growth in nearly 2 years, but monthly housing payments still hit a record high last month because mortgage rates and prices remain elevated. Economic uncertainty, tariff talks, layoffs, federal policy changes are among other factors dampening home buyer demand. The mortgage rate lock-in effect is easing. Homeowners who have been sitting on ultra low mortgage rates they scored during the pandemic are now giving up those low rates and selling their homes. That's because for most people, it's not realistic to stay put forever. Job changes, return to office mandates, and divorce force people to move. The idea of taking on a higher mortgage rate also isn't as shocking as it was when rates first skyrocketed in 2022. That I find interesting.
Yeah.
And so let me just get back here. Let me get back. Okay. So now you know how crazy my market's been here in Jersey.
Yes.
I think the tides are turning.
Yeah.
So had a listing and we lost not one but two buyers backed out. And I think it's because they're feeling like, oh my God, am I overpaying? I went on a listing appointment today. This guy had his house on the market. I think he only had it on for like a month. And he's like, the agent only brought me 10 buyers. I go, no. I mean, I had a hard conversation. It's like, no, he didn't bring you the 10 buyers. The buyers came into the door. They wanted to see your home. I go, but you didn't get more than that because you're way overpriced.
Yeah.
And he did not want to hear that. But it's like, you know what? Things are turning.
Yeah, they are.
I did an open house yesterday at another listing that I have. I didn't have a huge turnout like we used to get.
Yep.
Are you seeing this in your market?
Yes. Yeah. And certainly, all the doomers and crash bros are going to be like, see, we told you. You can definitely, a big eye roll. You can definitely get a sense that there is a shift afoot. And as you started the stream off with saying, I think you'd agree, it's a good thing. What we're seeing is a positive thing. It is not sustainable. It's not healthy. And quite frankly, it's not fair to a very large group of home buyers. And especially your first-time home buyers that don't have the luxury of trading in equity for a higher purchase price on a new home. If you don't have a home to sell, if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't have a bargaining chip in the form of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equity, then you're really at a huge disadvantage. So certainly there's a shift happening, and just anecdotally, what you're experiencing is similar to what I'm experiencing too. I had an open house over this weekend. Granted, the area that this open house is in, it is an area that is a little further away from a city center.
You're right.
Inventory is a lot higher out here, and therefore, and demand is just a little bit lower. So I wasn't expecting a big turnout, and the turnout was even smaller than I anticipated.
Really?
Yes. And what's another interesting side effect that we're seeing out here, and you're in a hot New Jersey market that's turning, I'm in a hot LA market that's starting to shift as well. Maybe you're seeing the same thing, Jackie, but we had a listing, a condo listing, and priced reasonably for what it is. And one of the buyers that was interested in the property saw the house, said, I really like it. I'm not going to make an offer. We said, well, why won't you make an offer? And they go, well, I can really only offer the asking price. And I just figure everything else I get outbid on. So I'm probably just gonna get outbid. So I'm not even gonna make an offer. Jackie, this woman said, this buyer said, I only have enough to offer the asking price. I don't even want to make an offer because I know I'm going to get beat. And it's so crazy because for the longest time in real estate, one of our favorite things to say as an agent was just make an offer.
Make an offer. Yeah.
Just make the offer because you never know what could happen. And if they say no, your life doesn't change at all.
You're right.
And so we're at an interesting spot where I feel like buyers still have this hangover of intimidation, like, oh man, it was a hot market. Yeah, they want 500,000 for the house, but I really know that means 550 and I don't even want to try.
Yeah.
And then what happens is nobody tries to buy the house. And then the house sits on the market for 2 weeks. It's an interesting thing that's going on. And that's not happening all the time, but this is about the third story I've heard in the last about 2 months where it was like, hey, just make an offer. It doesn't need to be the asking price. And so I guess the moral of the story for all the viewers out there is if you're on the fence about submitting an offer on a property and you just assume that you're going to get beat down with competition, maybe not. And we're starting to see more and more sellers negotiate with just one buyer or maybe two buyers, not 10 or 20.
Yep. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's like it happened overnight, I feel like. And
very quickly.
I have my good friend Jim Flanagan. He's down in the Jersey Shore area in Toms River, New Jersey, and he did a video today talking about the Toms River housing market. Now the Jersey Shore, is pretty popular.
Yeah.
He said the tides are turning down there. He said at the $500,000 price point, $500,000 price point, he said if anything below, it's still selling quickly. Anything above 500, taking a little bit longer. And he said he goes, if it's showing well and it's like, it looks good and whatever, you might get a couple of like multiple offers, but nothing like what we've had. So he was talking maybe like 3-4 offers.
Right.
And, but it's happening. It's happening. So
this is a good thing. This is not cause for alarm. This is what needs to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm here for it. So Mrs. H with the question. All right. Jackie, the market is uncertain for now, but the prices are still high, even though some are dropping down, still scratchy. How is it going for you and selling for yours now dropping yet? So if you're referring to my my condo, so what I ended up doing, I had a condo in Delaware down the beaches. I ended up taking that off the market for now because I do have renters coming in for the summer, and I did not want to be bothered with showings with the guests there. So we got, starting the end of this month till the end of August, we have people coming in to rent it. So we're just going to let that go. And I'll put it back on either in the fall or I'll put it back in the winter. And we're going to see, maybe in like late January of next year. So we'll see what happens. But yes, JM, I'm planning to be a cash buyer this summer, thinking of seeing how the market goes first. Do you think cash will be able to get below asking looking on Long Island? So listen, cash is great as long as you don't go like too under asking price. You don't want to insult the person because sometimes, like I used to see that years ago, they would come in like grossly underpriced.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Listen, I get it. Cash is great. It's great, but if somebody can come in with a mortgage at a higher price and they're putting 20, 30, 40% down, and they're getting a mortgage. So it's going to just take them a little bit longer to get to closing because they have to get the mortgage approved. But yeah, I wouldn't go like too far under asking if you're going to try that. But, you got to keep an eye on the market. If you see a home sitting for a while, then that's your opportunity. You can go in and offer less. So that's my story.
Hey, David
Matney, where have you been? I haven't seen you in forever. Thanks for being here. Why do you feel the market has continued to be such a strong seller's market? I love his questions. David, you're the best. So it's been strong, David, because we have very little inventory. The Northeast in general just has an inventory issue because we don't have enough land to build. So this is why it's been crazy. And we had, the New York City contingency, the renters, the millennials who are renting in the markets of Jersey City, Hoboken, they're ready to move up and buy a home. All that coupled to, put that together. This is why we had such a strong seller's market, but it's starting to turn. So this could be good. Hello from Poland.
Wow. It's a big international stream tonight, Jackie.
Oh my God. Like worldwide. This is great. Vacation and family, taking a break from real estate. I think I got burned. I'm sorry, but you know what? Enjoy your vacation. Vacations do wonders for people.
They do. They do.
Oh my God. Greetings from Saudi Arabia. Are you kidding me?
How many continents do we have? We got North America, we got Europe, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, geez. We got an Asian continent. It's crazy.
Love it. Nina is here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I see a lot of discounts, but still the prices are too high and the houses are staying longer on the market.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's adjustment time. It's recalibration time.
It is. Sellers. Yep. Listen, like I said before, I met with the seller today. My partner and I went on a listing appointment and we had to give this guy the hard truth. We're like, you know what? You're overpriced. And he's a contractor, flipper, did a beautiful job on this house.
Yeah.
Location, it's not the best, but I mean, the house really offered a lot. And we had to break that news to him. It's like, yeah, you're overpriced. You're overpriced. He's like, well, why? I go, because you only had 10 people come to the door and no
Right.
offers. That's
Yep.
why.
Yep.
And, he was very frustrated. He goes, I thought for sure this would sell for this price. And I go, you don't, my partner said, she goes, you don't set the price. The buyers are setting the price.
Right.
And,
Right.
and they spoke loudly.
Yep.
They didn't like your price.
No, if they liked it, they would have bought it.
Exactly. Helena says, what's your prognosis for Vermont? You know what? I really do not know the Vermont market right now. But listen, I think this trend that we're seeing now, I think it's going to just affect the entire country. I mean, Florida's been in this for a while, Texas as well. So it's making its way. JM has a win.
Closing. Win.
Yay. Closing this Friday in Massachusetts. Millennial first-time buyers, very excited, but we have a lot of work to do. Congratulations.
Congrats. That is awesome.
Awesome.
That is great.
DWG just settled on a house, about to get third-party inspection just in case. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I was wondering what would be a deal breaker if I saw anything. Well, I would do anything like structural, if there's mold. I mean, the mold they can address, but anything structural, that could be very costly. And you would have to probably bring in an engineer to get a true evaluation of that and see what that would run. But yeah. So what do you say, Joe?
Yeah, I'd say typically, first off, this is a great question, DWG, and congratulations on selling on a house. Hopefully everything goes according to plan. Very first thing, and I'll try to make this brief because this could be a long answer, but first thing I'd say is first thing you need to start with is like, hey, how much do you love this house? Like, is this the house that you're going to be in for 30 or 40 years? Like, is this the forever home? Is this the home where you're going to have kids and make all the memories and do all the stuff? If the answer to that is yes, then probably you should be willing to take a little bit more issues if they do arise. So first, you got to kind of grade how much do you like the house? How long are you going to be there? How much value do you put on the house? But typically saying of the 5 major things of a house, you've got windows, roof, HVAC, plumbing, foundation, right? Those like the big 5, right? I typically like to have my buyers, if there's going to be something wrong, if there's one of the big 5 that's wrong, okay, we can fix that. If there's 2 of the big 5 that are wrong, maybe not. And if there's more than that, you better start getting a discount, or the seller better be fixing stuff or giving you some money, because when you have more than 2 of the big 5, it can get expensive very quickly, depending on the property type and the size and all that jazz.
I like I really like that whole method you got there, Joe. That's really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing any more information on this article before we move on. Oh, you know what, Leah? Let's talk about the top buyers markets. How about that?
Oh, the top buyers markets. All right.
So if anyone's looking to buy,
say Florida, Texas 1 and 2.
Yeah. Let's see.
Louisiana number 3.
Let's see if you're right. You ready? Yep. Florida, Texas. There you go.
It's almost like I'm a professional.
You know what you are. So you know your stuff. Okay, so the top 10 buyers markets, April 25. We have Miami. Look at the sellers versus buyers difference, 197.7%. West Palm Beach, 182%. Holy cow. 21,672 sellers to 7,280 buyers. Holy.
That is a buyer's market.
You think? If that's not a buyer's market, I mean, oh my gosh. Look at this. Fort Lauderdale, Austin, Texas, Jacksonville, Tampa, Phoenix, Arizona, Vegas, Orlando, and Nashville surprises me.
Nashville surprises me too, because that was such a hot spot. And I still feel like I hear about people still going to Nashville. Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So listen, you guys are in these markets here. You got it's a good time to buy. You got a lot of leverage.
I'll tell you what, that Nashville is, if there's buyers out there looking for a good deal, obviously with Florida, you have to contend with insurance, so that's going to be difficult. Texas, high taxes.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for an area and you have some flexibility, Tennessee is looking mighty good right now.
Oh, I know. That shocked the hell out of me with
Yeah.
Nashville. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, look, I think we're going to be seeing more buyers markets coming in the next few months. And
I
again,
agree.
it's not a bad thing.
No,
Not a bad
no,
thing.
it's what's needed. This is exactly
We need this.
what the trend that we need to go on. We need some stability in price increases. We need for buyers to feel like they have some say in the market and they're not
Yes.
just at the mercy of sellers.
Yep.
And you know, make no mistake, this is not you know, everybody. It's so funny. We've talked about this before, Jack. I've said this before on your stream. You know, the moment we get a little pop in inventory or the moment prices stop going up, everybody's like, oh, see, here's the crash.
I know.
But the moment that prices continue to go up and the moment that we don't have inventory, people are like, oh God, this housing unaffordability, it's great. It's like, okay,
Come
so
on.
what do you want, right? And I think that we're making strides in the right direction by having some of these major areas be labeled as buyer markets. It's a good thing.
It is a good thing. And like I said, I'm here for it. It's about darn time. So, really quick. Okay. I want to answer this. Mrs. H, I saw we're in Florida that the corporations are offering condo owners to sell their condos for $100,000 to $1 million, considering the way things are going. I would sell and take the money and run just to get out. I would too, Mrs. H. I totally would too.
Yeah.
It's, you know, let them take it off my hands. All right. We have any other questions? Okay. Umbra, coming from another cash buyer, I think it depends on where you are. I'm in South Jersey, and we have put 2 full asking price cash offers, and both went with other offers. Right. Lots of people are bidding tens of thousands over asking price out there. Well, Umbra, hopefully that's going to change. we're seeing a little bit change going on there.
Yep.
Steve, I was about to list my house in North Jersey. Fingers crossed. Oh,
good luck.
Can you tell me where? Because I got a couple of buyers. I hope they're in their price range. I need to find them homes. So, all right, Rob Roberts.
Oh,
what does a big corporate realtor, Coldwell Banker Remax, offer that small locally owned realty offices don't? Well, we have a really big market share. We have a big our marketing programs. Like believe it or not, when we list a house, it goes out to like 700 websites. No joke. It's just our marketing is very strong compared to the smaller ones. And, you know, like the appointment we went on today, the guy he had listed with before, all the guy did was put the home on MLS and that was it. You know, we go the extra mile, and we obviously, when we list it in Coldwell Banker, it goes out to all these other sites, but we also go in the extra mile. My partner and I, we go to social media. We also do, you know, our social media posts and, you know, promote the property and things like that. But you know what? That's what I think that the big corporate ones, the corporate offices, companies offer. It's just they offer more options, more marketing programs, things like that. And the name, you know, it's the name. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I joined Coldwell Banker. I mean, they've been around for over 100 years, and you know, they've been good. They've been good to work for. Again, it's all about reputation too. You know, they're a very ethical company, and that's why I chose to hang my license with them. So, anyway, hi Clark.
Hey, Clark.
What's going on?
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here. Okay. Why do you buy a home in New Jersey if the property tax is $20,000 per year? With repairs, it is much higher than renting. No incentive to buy. Listen, you're not wrong about the taxes here. It is outrageous, but people still want to be here. Why? Because of the schools. That's the number one reason why people move here. We have a great school system. Other than a financial meltdown, how will prices ever be reachable for young families? Listen, I don't think we're not going to see a crash. Let's hope, knock wood, where prices drop by 20 to 30%. Let's hope we don't have another great financial crisis. Listen to me. Great financial crisis. We don't want to have that again. But the only thing I can advise you right now is just keep saving your money and just keep watching the market. And I know it's really frustrating. And maybe you have to seek outside your market. If you're here in New Jersey, you might have to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Now, that's why a lot of people are leaving the state because they can't afford this anymore. You know?
So
But
I have the same thing here in California where people, it's just like, can't do what I want here for the money. And I
yeah,
need to leave. And it's also important to realize that, you know, we're not in uncharted territories. You know, go back to 81, 82, and 83, and the affordability was as bad or worse at that time. And we rebounded, right? And
yes.
everything works in a cycle, and it's all cyclical. And I know that right now we have been in a cycle that has really disenfranchised buyers and young home buyers for the last 5 years. And it's very difficult to, you know, obviously keep taking punches over and over and over.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something to be said about looking towards the past and seeing what has happened and how we've come through it. And, you know, I think that what you said, Jackie, is still the truest and best advice, which is just keep saving, try to make smart financial decisions, and try to put yourself in a position where you can be successful. I don't mean make a ton of money or get promoted. I mean, whatever success is for you, right? And like you said, Jackie, that might mean that your first home is actually an investment property in Indiana as opposed to a 3-bedroom home in Miami or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like you might just, the path to equity and home ownership might start to look a little bit different moving forward, which, you know, is tough to get used to.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Sydney says, here in the Finger Lakes in New York, I need some inventory for small ranch homes to come up in the small city I've targeted. So far, nothing. Well, hopefully that'll change, Sydney. Just got to give a little time. Blind Shiloh, we just had our inspection yesterday. The house is great for 1971. The inspector gave the electrical panel a grade F minus as a quick summary. What would you do? If that electrical panel is like outdated, I would be asking the seller to fix that, replace it. I would. I mean, matter of fact, the house we listed this weekend, I did the open house. She had it under contract with another buyer. The whole thing went awry, and then she brought us in. But she had to replace the electric panel because that was a big issue for the buyers. So she went ahead and took care of that. But I would ask them, listen, you can ask. I don't know what market you're in, but listen, if you're in a buyer's market, you got leverage. You can ask for things.
Yeah. And even if they don't want to replace the panel, again, I don't know where you're at. I don't know how much a panel costs for what you're trying to do. Let's just say a panel costs $2,000. If he doesn't want to put a new panel in, say, hey, okay, well, how about then? Why don't you give me $1,000? At least get half of it, right? And get something for it if you can.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Hi, Cody. Thanks for being here. I need advice. We're a family of 4 in Oceanside, California, being restationed to, I'm assuming, South Dakota Naval Base? No, SD,
San Diego,
San Diego Naval Base. Yeah. We're pending on a $647,000 townhouse in National City, San Diego. We're pending, but it's been vacant 47 days, has no HVAC, and the inspection showed rat droppings in the attic. I feel like that the price is too high. So would you still move forward or walk away? Well, what you should do, and Joe, chime in too. So what I would do is just go back to the sellers and see what they can do. See if they're willing to rectify those problems. You know, I don't know what the market is there in San Diego. Joe, you probably have a better idea. If it's a hot market, you might have a little bit difficulty. It's hot market.
At least it was, and where they're talking about, I think it's a little bit outside San Diego. That to me seems like a pretty reasonable, a pretty affordable price point for San Diego, but I don't know that exact region that you're in. Now, when you say it's pending and it's been vacant for 47 days, I wouldn't be too concerned that no one's lived there for 47 days. It's not a huge issue. But interesting when you say it has no HVAC. I know that San Diego being a beach town, some places don't have air conditioning because a lot of time in San Diego, it's 77 degrees most of the time. So I'd be interested about that. If it actually truly doesn't have HVAC, that could just be the way that the property was built. Now things are a little bit warmer than they used to be. And you might be on the hook for having to install central AC, if you want it. The rat droppings are a little bit different, but I will tell you, I've had buyers freak out about rodents and rats. And I'll tell you this, especially in a big city like San Diego or LA or Miami or New York, where there are people, there are rodents.
Yes.
That is a fact of life. So what I would do is I would have an exterminator or an attic clean out company come clean up the attic, get a quote for it, maybe try to negotiate a little bit and say, hey, the attic cleanup is going to be $1,500. Why don't, give me $800 because I'm gonna have to clean this up or whatever. And they can clean all that stuff up, replace some of the insulation and then have a handyman make sure it's all sealed. I wouldn't let some rodent droppings deter you from buying a condo, especially if it's good. But hey, if you're in escrow and there are some issues, it doesn't hurt to try to negotiate and ask for something, ask for a little bit of money, be realistic about it.
Absolutely.
Don't ask for $31,000 because there's rat droppings in the attic, but be reasonable, listen to the advice of your agent, and don't be afraid to ask because the worst they're going to say is no.
Absolutely. Excellent advice, Joe. 3D scans and drone videos are still a good seller tactic, especially in Cali. So what's your opinion on that, Joe?
I'd say overall, yes, good tactic. I will say this, the 3D scans, that's like the virtual Matterport tour. I do that for every listing. My office owns one of the cameras. We bought the camera. And so we can do virtual tours and 3D scans on every listing. We do that as standard practice. My opinion is if you hire an agent, especially somewhere in California where you're probably, you probably have an $800,000 house minimum, that agent's earning a good commission. They should be willing to do all those things for you. Drone photos are hit and miss. And I'll tell you why. If you live in a condo, townhome, or dense community, an aerial shot of your home is only hurting the marketing of your property. It's only displaying how close all the neighbors are. Now, if you have a quarter-acre lot, half-acre lot, or larger, or you have a great view, or you have a special amenity near you that is captured via aerial, okay, great, not an issue. But if you just have a home in the middle of the block, in the middle of a community, the drone stuff is probably not going to be a big wow factor, right? So drone, I would use a little bit more thoughtfully. 3D Matterport, the 3D scanning, virtual tour, all day, every day I would do it because you never know where your buyer could come from.
That's right. Excellent advice. Thank you, my friend. So, okay, Arhan, thank you so much for the super chat. That's amazing. Thank you for all your help and listening for over 2 years. I'm under contract and just finished inspections, all clear. Set the close at 3 weeks in North Jersey. Congratulations. Jen, can we get an applause? That's amazing. Good for you.
Awesome.
That's not an easy feat here in Jersey. Good for you. And thank you again for the super chat. It means the world. When you guys do that, like it helps support the channel, and it's amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's great.
So moving on. So I wanted to talk us about something else. I like to do other real estate news. So I want to tell the viewers, so what's going on right now here in Jersey? There's a farm down in Middlesex County. It's down in a town called Cranberry, New Jersey. And the town is looking to take over this farm, buy the farm. They're using eminent domain. And why? They're using eminent domain because they needed to build affordable housing. So I want to bring up the article and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. Because this has been all over the news here in Jersey. And if you guys anyone's local from New York, New Jersey, I'm sure you've heard about this. So let me pull this up. All right. Okay, Cranberry, New Jersey here. So Cranberry Township wants to let me close that out. It's so annoying, these stupid ads. Okay. Cranberry Township wants to seize the 21-acre tract of land that has been in Andy Henry's family for generations to build affordable housing. Henry said the land holds rich history and deep value, not only from his family, but the entire community. Henry is fighting to keep the property, which his family has owned since 1850. They've had this for 175 years. Do you believe that? We're going to resist this effort legally to have it taken by eminent domain, and we're just going to hang in there for as long as we can. The farm sits in an area surrounded by massive warehouses and busy roadways. Supporters of the farm say it's not an ideal location for housing development. When you put people out here that are 2 miles from town, kids can't ride their bikes into town. They can't access the library. Area farmers lease the land, which the Henrys have been doing for decades. The town says affordable housing laws in the state give them little choice but to choose the Henry family for development. The community showed support to save the farm during a Memorial Day weekend parade, dressing as cows to make their point. So, okay, so let me explain. For a lot of people aren't aware. So here in New Jersey, we have this thing called the Mount Laurel Doctrine, and that was put into place back in 1975. And what it is, it says that every town in the state of New Jersey has to provide a certain amount of affordable housing. So in the case of Cranberry Township, what the problem is, the state has tasked Cranberry Township to come up with another 245 affordable units. And they have to have this plan ready to submit to the state by the end of the month, June 30th. So now that this is the only property that they claim to find that they can put these 245 units on. So listen, I'm all for it. We all need, we definitely need more affordable housing, but at what cost? I mean, you're using eminent domain to take over this farm. And it's not just them, by the way. I found another article. There was a church that was that's being eyeballed to take over.
And this is
housing.
This is becoming very, very common. Places of worship are being targeted.
Yeah.
Because they typically, when a lot of these big churches of any denomination, doesn't matter their religion, but just the houses of worship that were built during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you think about, if you went to church as a kid or even, back in the day, huge front rolling lawn, big flat open parking lot.
Yeah.
Right. lots of sprawl in these houses of worship.
Yeah.
And, and we're not going to get into the why, but obviously studies show that people are utilizing houses of worship less and less, and congregations are smaller and smaller, and people are starting to go, wait a minute, that church has a big old parking lot that's used for 3 hours a week. We could put in apartments there and, do something. So even in my state, houses of worship and churches are they're in the bullseye. They're in the crosshair by some of these developers because they're seeing this giant plot of land, and they have, quite frankly, they've got dollar signs in their eyes, and they're going, we got this huge acre lot and you guys only use it 5 hours a week. Like, let's build on it. Right. And they're seeing it. So this is very, very common.
Yeah, it's crazy. So even here, like this New Jersey mayor, it says here, using eminent domain to seize a church, build pickleball courts. Are you kidding me? So this is in Tom's River. And what else? There's another one. So this talks about the farm. And in Perth Amboy, town officials voted to designate an apartment building on Smith Street, as well as a tire shop, areas in need of redevelopment to make way for a new private warehouse. So, you're right. This is common. And I want everybody to be aware of this. I'm not trying to scare you and be like, the government's going to come take your home, but this is becoming an issue in states like here in Jersey, where there's no land. This Mount Laurel Doctrine, it was good intentions when they put it in place, but there's not enough land to do it. Like here in my town, what they ended up doing. So if somebody bought a house through Mount Laurel, I think the length, you have to own it for like 20 years before you could sell it. So what our town was doing is we have several condominium complexes in my town, and what they were doing, they were identifying those homes that were expired from Mount Laurel, and they were free to sell it. They would go in and offer to buy their condo. Now, this is just within the last few years, the height of the market, and they were giving them market value for it, which was great. And then they're taking those and they're turning around and reselling them as affordable housing. So they don't have to build more, because we're running out of land here in my town. Now, we have a lot of land here. We have a lot of parkland here. Yeah. So a lot of that's untouchable, but where the heck else are we going to, we
have a similar problem.
Yeah, I know. You have the same thing too.
Yeah, so, we got the same thing. We got the same thing. And we have the state, mandating, we have the state mandating what can be built. So for instance, now in my town, and this is in most parts of California, and this came as a big shock to people because, like you said, Jackie, you hit the nail on the head again. when you said it had good intentions.
Yes.
And a lot of times, and this is not me being anti-government. I don't want it to be construed that way. But a lot of times that's a common theme in lawmaking, where they identify an issue and they go, oh, here's the solution, but they don't think about the area in the middle of how we're going to get there. What will the effect of the solution have?
Yeah.
And we're seeing that here in California. So here in California, now local control over any building project is basically vanished. It's gone. So if a developer wants to build something and it meets basic building codes, there's nothing that can be done to stop them. And we had this happen in a very, very quiet area of our city, in an old part of the town where we had a lot of old historic homes. They wanted to build a brand new 4-story low-income housing building, and people freaked out. They were like, listen, we're okay with low-income housing, but you're putting it in an area that is really unfit. And it was a problem. And this is happening throughout the United States, where local cities and counties and towns are being told by the state, we have a housing shortage. You have to build this. And there's nothing that you can really do about it, unfortunately.
I know. It's listen, I guess it was Cody that commented that we see both sides of it. I understand.
Right. Yes, I saw that. Cody's correct.
Yes, to try to see both sides. But, at what cost? Like these poor farmers.
Yeah.
It's an active farm. And believe it or not, Jersey produces some good, some good produce. You'd be surprised. I mean, we're coming into the summer. Jersey corn, Jersey tomatoes, blueberries. That's like, that's a thing. It's everybody lives for that, and it's sad. You're taking away their livelihoods, and I don't agree with. You got to find a better way. Vishnu, we have a lot of problem. 80% of commercial building in the United States are vacant. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Look at all the office buildings.
Yeah, and I wish there was a way to convert that. And it's so funny because we all think, oh, we can convert those commercial buildings and make them into apartments or townhomes. And it was funny because I saw a study that was done, and it was by a building firm that did this study, the true cost to convert office space to residential.
Right.
And they said that 80% of the time it costs more to convert a building from commercial to residential than just building a new residential building, because so many codes are different. You have to have so many entrances and exits and this type of stuff and parking and all that. And they just, the office buildings are not equipped. And when you take into account the cost to convert all that stuff, it ends up not penciling out, which is a term that I hate. But if you're a business, it is kind of important. And so it's one of those things that it again sounds really great on paper, but effectively it just doesn't work, unfortunately, because of all the codes and rules and red tape.
It's so frustrating. MH says nobody ever asks then what. You're right.
Yes.
Nobody does. Nobody thinks ahead, and they unintended consequences. Thank you, David Matney. That's so true. Because, over the years, I could think about this. This Mount Laurel Doctrine is 50 years old this year. It's been around for 50 years. You'd think we would, I know they've made amendments along the way, but come on. As we've gotten further into this, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and it is, because, you do want people to be able to afford to live in places. You want to try to have a housing for everybody, but
100%.
But at the same time, think about what I just said. We want to have housing for everyone everywhere. Is that even possible? How can you prepare? And especially Jackie, you and I, this is a good thing. We both live in desirable urban areas. I'm in Los Angeles, you're in New Jersey. And the fact of the matter is it's hard. We've talked about this before in my local circles with affordable housing. What is affordable housing? What is that? What does that look like? Because what I think something is affordable might not be affordable to the next person. Yep. And then how do you make something affordable? Well, I guess you just make it cheaper, but then is the quality good? So, it's a tough situation. Yeah. And like Cody said, you kind of see both sides. And what do? I don't know. I really wish I had. I wish I had an answer, but I
Yeah, I
don't.
know. What do you do? You
Yeah.
can't. You know, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
It's just. I got nothing. I got
Yeah.
nothing. But Umbra says, I'm considering an offer, but the home needs pretty much all major things replaced. Roof, HVAC, water heater. Should I bother? 300,000 long term. Living home. Well, you know what? If you don't want to take all of that on, I mean, it sounds like a great price, but if you don't want to take all that on, that's a lot. That's a lot. You got to do the math and you got to budget it. Okay. I mean, look, if you can get it that price and you're willing to do the work, have at it. But it's, you have to crunch the numbers and figure out what it's going to cost you in the end.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to, what's the home worth to you? I just told a client this today, and Jackie, you probably had similar conversations. I told a client today, we're talking about putting an offer on a house. I said, listen, I can tell you what this home is worth when I look at data and statistics and analytics and comps. I can tell you mathematically what I think the market value of this home is, but I cannot tell you what you value the home at, right? So again, if this is a home where you're like, hey, it's 300K and it's in the neighborhood that I love and it's the style that I love, but it needs these things. Hey, if it's priced appropriately and you have the budget to do the things that you need to or want to do, and it's going to be a home that's going to be exactly what you want, then it probably seems like a good deal. If it's not in a good area that you like, if you don't have the extra budget, if you're not that stoked on it, then screw it. Don't pay 300K for it, right? So
yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I don't think the individual issues should be what stop you from buying the house. And that goes for anybody. I think you have to look at the whole picture together. And then, like Jackie said, run the numbers. Does it make sense for you? How much do you love that house? Are you going to be there for 25 years? Then replacing a roof is probably not that big of a deal, especially if you've budgeted for it.
Yep. Longtime viewer, first time asking questions. What do you think of buying a house in Saratoga Springs? I love Saratoga Springs. It's beautiful up there. I don't know what the market's like, but look, if you love it, like Joe was just saying, like, what's it worth to you? I mean, if you love it, do you love the town? Do you love the neighborhood? Saratoga Springs is absolutely beautiful. So that's you desire, then go for it. Thoughts on seller not wanting to get permits before closing, unpermitted shower and wall removal. Market Union County offer 10% over asking, average is 5% over asking. So how the heck are you going to close if you got open permits? Does he not realize that? You got to close the permits out before you, yeah. You might have to walk, I mean, because I don't know how you're going to close, honestly. So
Yeah.
I would, I mean, talk to your attorney. I mean, you're in Union County. I'm sure you're working with an attorney. I would get with your attorney to talk about that one. But I mean, you can't close without that. So yeah, that's dumb on the seller. Also, originally offered 1.5% to my buyer's agent, but was able to negotiate a bit higher. Move forward or walk away. That is totally up to you. With everything going on with this, I would have a conversation with your attorney regarding those permits. And so I'm assuming you're paying, so the seller's not paying for your agent, you're paying for the agent, you're paying your buyer's agent. I'm assuming that. But yeah, that's a lot, I'm not saying that's a lot. I mean, the commission, I'm talking about a lot with the permits, the open permits. Like you can't close. So what the heck's wrong with that seller? Maybeth, hey Jackie, love your channel. Thank you. My husband and I officially closed on our first home today in Lehigh County, PA. It took us 6 months and many homes being outbid to get in our home. It was worth it. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's a huge win.
A huge win. That makes me so happy. Yes, everyone hit that like button. Yep, thank you very much.
Somewhere right down there somewhere.
Yes, thank you. So what else have we got here? We got, you guys, the chat's like crazy again.
I know. It's like there's so much I don't even know what to look at. Chat's awesome. This is great. Hey, sellers, you better get those cracked foundations and 25-year-old roofs replaced in the 1980 HVAC and your overpriced as is crap. Listen, they got sellers. Got fired.
Yeah. if you're going to sell your home, get real. I said this with last week. Get real with the market and listen to your agent. So again, the guy I talked to today, he had a number in his head, and it's like, that's not your number. You can't set the price. You can't. I mean, we can put it out there, according to how what the market is doing right now. Will you get over asking? Possibly. Will you get that price? Probably will, because we're pricing it according to the market. Sellers, we're not in 2021 anymore. 2020, we're not.
And no, we're not. And that's what they need to realize. And guys, it's really simple, right? The formula for figuring out if you're overpriced is super, super, super simple. First off, listen to your agent. That's the first thing you do.
Yep.
Secondly, if you're on the market for 3 weeks and you get no showings and no offers, you're way overpriced.
Yep.
If you're on the market for 3 weeks and you get some showings but no offers, you're pretty overpriced. Yep. If you're on the market for 3 weeks and you get a ton of showings but no offers, you're a little overpriced. And if you're on the market for 3 weeks and you get a ton of showings and a ton of offers, you're priced right. It's very, very, very simple.
Yep. Yep. It's very, yes. And right off the bat, within the first few days, how the activity is going to go.
Yep.
Can we hear stories of your guys' worst clients? I'd love to know. Oh, God.
I got to mix up a drink first.
Really? Oh, I have one that comes to mind, like really short story. I don't want to take up too much time, but I had this client. I was very suspicious of him. This is years ago. I'm going back like 6-7 years, and not the husband was just oh, he was tough. He was tough, and I was always dealing with the wife. Just very, very difficult to work with. Very demanding. Kept wanting to go back to look at the house, to take measurements and do things. And he was very intimidating. That's the word I'm looking for. And right before we were doing the final walkthrough, we had to go in like a couple days prior, and he wanted to go look at something. And he's like, I don't want the seller to be there. And I go, it's her house. You can't tell her what to do. He's like, no, I don't want her to be there. Like, I'm sorry, I can't control that. So we show up, and sure enough, the seller's there. He was like flipping mad at me, doesn't say anything to her. And the seller pulls me to the side, and she said, I know you had asked my agent not to be here, but I'm sorry. I don't trust this man. I needed to be here. I'm like, great. So now fast forward to the final walkthrough. He wanted all the brackets off the walls. He wanted all these, he was being ridiculous. Okay. And meanwhile, it said in the listing, this stuff is going to stay up. So we show up, and he's like, that's wrong. This is wrong. There's garbage at the end of the driveway. I'm like, yeah, because garbage pickup is tomorrow. She had to bring everything out to the curb. Like, really, he was just so ridiculous. So yelling at me, we're in the basement of this house. Now he's yelling at me. I told you this, and I told you this is what I wanted. And I go, I know what you said, but this is what was on the contract. This is what else do you want me to do? We can't change things at the 11th hour. It was just awful. So come to find out, we're at the closing, and the listing agent tells me, she goes, do you know these people? They were trying to commit mortgage fraud. I'm like, what? Because when we were talking about his mortgage, he did not want me to talk to his lender at all. He got pissed off when I went to go speak to him, about his pre-approval. So it was a townhome. And when they went to apply for the mortgage, they said it was a single family home. You get a different rate, right? When you get if it's townhome condo, it's a higher rate versus single family. And they fought, and they were swearing up and down that this is a single family home. Oh yeah. So the listing agent told me they had to get involved and provide proof or whatever. Like, no, this is a townhome. It was a detached townhome. It was like an, interior unit.
Wow.
Like, are you freaking kidding? I had no clue. He kept me in the dark. It was awful. He was such a god awful person. So he was pissed off at closing because he had to pay a higher rate because he could, he was caught. So anyways, that's my quick story, and I'm sticking with it. Yeah. What a jerk. I'm like, and I felt like an idiot because I'm like, I met the guy at an open house, and they decided to work with me. And I'm like, all right, this is great. And then, when you start to see people's true colors over time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. Oh, David says my worst was a buyer changing their mind 10 minutes before closing.
Oh man.
Oh, that sucks. Sorry, David.
That's a
Joe,
tough
what
one.
about you? Do you got it? Do you got a good one?
Yeah. Yeah, I got one. The one that comes to my mind, and it was tough because the kind of the opposite to your situation. I was working with a husband and wife. Husband, pretty down to earth, respected the information that I gave him, valued the information I gave him as a professional.
Yeah.
The wife, on the other hand, was like, "Hey, Joe, what do you think a good offer price would be?" And I'd say, "Well, these are the comps. This is what I think, blah, blah, blah. This is what I would do." And she'd go, "No, you're wrong." Okay. I'm wrong. Like, why are you even talking to me then?
Oh my
And
God.
so
I love that.
you know, we're talking to, we're all talking, we're looking at the house, and they decide to pull the trigger. We write an offer. Offer gets accepted. Husband's pretty excited. It's an old home in an older part of our town, and it's a Tudor style home. And the attic, it's got a really steep roof because it's a Tudor.
Right.
So the attic was really, really tall, and they had converted some of the attic space to livable square footage. And once we get into escrow, these people are upset about a square footage discrepancy over about 15 square feet. And they're talking about how, well, because the roof is so low over here, this isn't usable square footage, and the house is really smaller than what it's measured as. And therefore, because the home is smaller, we want to pay less. And I said, well, it doesn't work that way. And if you don't buy it, you know, someone right behind you will.
Oh God.
So, you know, but what do you think is a reasonable adjustment? And so they go, oh, we want to adjust it 50,000. This is ridiculous. This is absurd, right?
What?
And I'm talking to the listing agent. Listing agent's like, this is crazy. And I'm like, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you, but these are the clients and this is what they're saying, and I got to do what they say. Get this, Jackie. We're going back and forth. We get this down. Seller finally goes, you know what? Okay, fine. This is stupid, but I'll come down a little bit just because I want to get it sold and I want to get this done. This house is about a 1.15 million. So in my area, expensive, but not like stupid, but 1.1 million, a little over 1.1. The seller comes down, the buyer comes down a little bit. We are $10,000 apart. And the seller goes, this is the best. I don't even need to come down this far. And I'm telling my buyers, this is a great deal. The comps are all higher than this. This is what you've been looking for. We've been looking for homes for a year. Like, and the husband is like, Joe, I get it. I'm with you, but wife is not. And I said, well, you guys got to figure it out because we got to make a decision. And they decided to cancel the escrow over a $10,000 discrepancy on a home that was worth 1.1 million, which, by the way, they did not buy a home since then. They're still renting. And this home now is probably worth 1.4, 1.5.
Oh my God. Over $10,000?
Over $10,000.
Serious? Oh,
I was on the cell phone with these people and they told me this, and I spiked my cell phone down. The screen shatters. I was so upset. Oh my God. I've never been this upset at a client before. And it was because they ignored my advice. I knew that they were going to lose money because of what they were doing. And then I was proven right. They did lose a ton of money in equity and opportunity cost. And that was a tough one, especially because the husband was like, Joe, you were right. And the husband left me a great review, even though I ended up not selling the house.
Oh, that was nice of him.
Joe's really smart. He knows what he's doing.
At least he could have done. Yeah.
And it was crazy because I was like, and that's funny. You say good, great advice, and then you turn around and don't take it. And now you don't have a house.
Oh my God. I would have quit. I would have left real estate after that. I had no way.
That was a tough one. That was a hard one. I was like, this is. How do
you get past that one? God bless you.
I don't talk to them anymore.
Good. Let them work with somebody else. Casey says, should we consider older home with higher property taxes or newer home with lower tax prices? Thank you for your videos. You are so welcome. So are you talking about buying a brand new construction home? Because be careful with that, because the property taxes, they're not really set until like once you get closer to closing and the property is assessed, you'll get the taxes and it will be typically lower. However, over time in the next couple of years, as more homes are built, it's going to get reassessed again and those taxes are going to rise. So be careful with that. So if you want to buy something, if you want to like getting an older home that already has the property taxes set and you don't have that stress of worrying about what the taxes are going to be, that might be, give you some peace of mind, but that's something to think about. What do you see in job trends in your areas? I hear lots of worries, but no one I know in my circle has actually lost a job. Are employment worries affecting real estate overstated? Not so much here in Jersey. We're not seeing that a lot. You're probably hearing more of what's going on in the DC, Maryland area with all the federal workers. There's a lot of, as you know, earlier this year, there's a lot of federal layoffs. So those markets are definitely impacted. Up here, not so much. I mean, what about you, Joe?
I don't anticipate layoffs affecting my area at all. I haven't heard about anything. I haven't noticed anything. I haven't heard, this job shaky. I just pulled up the unemployment rate for the United States because I have the Google machine in front of me, and we're at 4.2% unemployment. Anything under 6.5 is considered full employment in the United States. So we are doing very well unemployment wise. The whole unemployment thing, it to me seems to be kind of bound to the tech sector. Obviously, we had what happened with government and Doge and all that. It's kind of an outlier, but a lot of it seems to be in the tech sector. And you have to remember, tech went on a huge hiring binge in the pandemic. 2020, 2021, they were hiring anybody with a pulse. Dan makes an interesting remark. He says UPS just laid off 20,000. And I've heard people point to that. UPS is laying off, and UPS is one of those companies similar to like your Home Depot, your Target, your Walmart. It's kind of a barometer for the greater economy because of all the common household goods. The interesting thing about the UPS layoff is UPS is getting laid off because Amazon delivery is putting a hurt on their market share. So when we look at UPS laying off 20,000 people, normally that would be a little bit of a worrisome point. But the analysis there is basically saying, well, UPS is laying off people because they're losing market share. And a lot of those layoffs, Amazon is going to hire that because Amazon is gaining market share in delivery through prime delivery, right? So something like a UPS 20,000 position layoff doesn't particularly worry me because that is the balancing of industry. Whereas if you had something where it was like Amazon delivery was laying off, UPS was laying off, and FedEx was laying off, now we've got an issue, right? If Lowe's is laying off, Home Depot's laying off, and Target's laying off, now we've got an issue.
Exactly.
So a very long-winded answer to your question. In my area, unemployment is not a concern of that most real estate professionals are worried about.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Hey, Kelly, thank you for watching. Planning on moving from New Hampshire to northern New Jersey in August. What does the rental market look like right now? It's not as crazy as it's been. I mean, the rentals are pretty high, but I am seeing them sit a little bit longer like they used to. So by the time you get here in August, hopefully that'll calm down even more. But I'm not sure where in North Jersey you're looking, but be prepared. It's not cheap. Sorry. It's just not. It's Jersey. So anyway, you guys. So I want to look. Let me just do refresh here. I want to look at the poll. I remembered the poll last week. I didn't remember it, and I was like very upset with myself. Okay, so we had 245 votes. What is holding you back from buying a home in 2025? Is it interest rates, home prices? So we have interest rates. 29% of you said that's what's holding you back. Home prices, 53%. Economic uncertainties, 19%. So home prices are still the winner. Home prices are still holding people back from buying a home. And I think,
surprise me.
Given we have now 500,000 more sellers, Joe, I think it's happening. I think the correction is upon us. So let's hope. Let's hope.
And I think it's what we need to see, and I think it's what we're going to see. And I think that, quite frankly, it's going to sound weird, but I think it's going to be better for buyers and sellers in the long run. Stability is what is the most needed
Yes.
For everyone. And that
balance. It's balance. It's all about balance. We need the balanced market, you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we got another question down on the bottom there, Jen. Did you see it? ZZ? Here, let me see. I want to make sure it comes up. I know Jen's awesome. So my producer, she's behind the scenes, and I don't know how she does this because I was freaking out last week trying to pull these comments up. The house on my street sold at $10,000 above asking, but Zillow has my house estimate at $30,000 less. I have a new roof, 2 decks, bigger backyard. Will an agent be able to increase my Zestimate? Okay. Zestimate has nothing to do with realtors. Zestimate is a Zillow thing. It's an algorithm. What Zillow's doing is they're pulling information off the public records. So Zillow does not know the updates that are in your home or what size backyard you have. It's just pulling random data of recently sold homes, and that's how it's generating your Zestimate.
Yep.
Don't look at it. I'm telling you, people get stressed out. They watch this like, oh my God, my value just dropped. Zestimate's crap. It means nothing. So don't even look at it. Trust me on that one. It's
the Zestimate is just a looking at what other homes in your neighborhood have sold for in a radius. They're just taking price, square foot, bed and bath count. They're chopping it up and they're saying, okay, value. They don't know what upgrades you have. They don't know what upgrades the other homes have had.
Exactly.
They don't know that you're in a school district that's more highly coveted than the home across the street, which is in a different elementary school. Those are all things that go into an effect, and Zillow is not taking into account any of that, which is why if you want an accurate idea of what your home is worth, you need to talk to a local real estate professional.
Absolutely. Yeah. So an agent can't reduce it for you, but an agent can give you an accurate number of what it's worth. All right. I offered $315,000 for a 324 home, asking seller to pay my agent's commission and escrow. Seller declined and countered selling as is. Home needs a lot of updates. Should I wait? So listen, if the offer is not, if they countered and, selling it as is, and that's something you don't want to deal with and you're not comfortable with it, go with your gut. Okay. If your gut's telling you this isn't right, I'm not comfortable with it, then don't proceed. I'm telling you, because you're going to have some serious regret. And you guys know I do a lot of videos talking about home buyer regret. You don't want to be in that situation. This estimate is about as accurate as the weight listed on my driver's license. Dave Matney, I love you. I love you, man. I love your one-liners.
Oh, that's great.
I think Dave's a comedian on the side. He just hasn't told us yet.
Yeah.
He's a comedian / realtor. David, you're the freaking best. I love that. It's accurate as to weight of my driver's. Oh my God. Daniel says we have 2% interest rate and got this house for $238, so we're never selling. I don't blame you. I wouldn't sell that either. Good Lord. Thank you. Great answers and company this evening. Thank you so much, Mrs. H. I love when Miss H is on. She's always got she's such a breath of fresh air. So anyway, everybody, you all know Joe, but I don't care. I'm going to share his channel with you again. Joe is a real estate agent out in California. Please go check out his channel. Serving the Claremont market. And he's let me close that one out there. Okay. He's all about, talking about things about Claremont and what's going on out there. So please check him out. Show him some love, would you? Because, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And also want to remind everybody, if you need to be connected to a real estate agent in your market, I am happy to assist you with that. Please go here to my website. You're going to click this and you're going to fill out, there's going to be 2 forms. You're going to fill out the initial form, and then you're going to get an email to fill out a questionnaire. It gives me more detailed information about exactly what you're looking for, what areas you're looking for, helps me to identify the right agent to get you connected with. So please be sure to fill out both forms if you need an agent. So Joe,
Jackie,
thank you.
Thank you. It's always so much fun. And your chat is so great. And one day I aspire that my chat will be as busy as your chat is.
You will.
And speaking of, for all those people that are interested, I'm gonna do a shameless plug, even though you already did it for me. I'm gonna do it again.
Oh yes, when is your streams? I'm
Yes,
so sorry.
my live stream, which is
Yes.
very similar. If you like Jackie's live stream, you'll like my live stream. We have a lot of fun on it. David hangs out all the time, and we have some other people from Jackie's team in mind. My live streams are Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll be streaming this Wednesday, 6:30 on my channel. And we usually dig up an article similar to this, and then we'll take questions. So anybody out there, if you have real estate questions, maybe we didn't get to them on this live stream and you want to ask them, I'm happy to answer all your questions. You can circle over to my live stream. And I see RA had a question about 29 Palms. Yes, I'm slightly familiar with that, RA. Go over to my channel, subscribe there, and come into my stream on Wednesday if you're available. And then you can pick my brain about any Southern California real estate you want.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right,
Jackie.
everybody, thank you all so much for being here this evening. I will see you all next time. Everyone have a great week. Take care.